You have your ticket? You don't have one, my friend? No problem. Just hit the subscription button below and come on in. Hey, you don't have to hit the subscription button if you don't want to. You're still welcome to listen in on the conversation. Hey guys, this evening I want to talk to you guys about something that's extremely important and I think you may find interesting. So I'm going to just jump right into it. Before I do, I'm going to state, 1 Peter 5 and 8. Now, you guys know, we Hebrew Israelites, what I'm saying? Our history is the scripture, and we learn from the scripture. We build our lives around what thus says Yahuwah, all right? And we believe that Yeshua is the Messiah, and we're also, followers of him. We're part of his community. That being said, if you go back into the New Testament, 1 Peter 5 and 8, it says that, be alert and be mindful, for your adversary, Satan, goes around like a roaring lion seeking someone to destroy or eat or devour. And I bring that to your attention because, I was going through and just doing some research, studying, which is something that, all of us who want to be informed and who have a platform who want to share information, we spend, time doing. And those who don't spend time doing, I hope you don't waste your time listening to them. But we spend time, developing content so that we can share with you to keep you informed, to keep you, sharp as well. And I was going through and I was looking at the situation where it relates to, manufacturing jobs. And, we talk about with this big slave trade, this big trade war that's going on right now with China, with the whole back and forth with the tariffs and et cetera. And guys, a lot of you guys understand that the tariffs are going to affect us. It doesn't affect China outside of just not being able to sell product if we don't want to pay a higher price for the product. But at the end of the day, if you continue to go out and purchase product the same way you always go out and purchase product, it doesn't hurt China. It just makes money for the Commerce Department, and it also makes money for the retailer because they get a chance to jack their prices up, and all that comes right back down to their profit. They'll tell you, well, we paid more for the tariffs, but I can assure you, if they're paying 15% tariff for imports, I guarantee you're paying 20% more for that product you're buying off their shelves. It's 25 years of retail experience talking to you right now, so I know what the hell I'm talking about. But you don't have to believe me, right? Okay, find out for yourself. Smart one's going to listen to me, though. But that being said, the manufacturing jobs, I go back to, I was sitting there thinking about it. I said, I wonder how many of these manufacturing jobs, all these jobs that have gone overseas, I'm like, well, how does that stimulate America's economy? And at the end of the day, who's doing the work if all the jobs are, the manufacturing jobs are overseas? And then it dawned on me, who's doing the work? You know why the manufacturers seem to have disappeared? They didn't really disappear, not in their entirety. Yes, some did go over, but others just kind of metamorphed into the prison industry complex. Now, you may be like, what the hell are you talking about? Manufacturing jobs in the prison industry complex. Well, I'm going to tell you what I mean by that. First of all, let me share some information for you so we can get started, so I can get it good. Okay? Give you some stats. The number one growing group, prison incarcerated group right now, the number one group who are being incarcerated today are young, so-called African-American females. Number two, if your child, just to your parents, if your child cannot read by the 3rd grade, it's a 50% chance that your child is going to be, at some point, locked up in jail or prison. As a matter of fact, there are companies that literally look at schools and get grades and look at certain pockets in certain communities to find out how many children are falling behind in terms of, where they should be, again, by 7, 8 years old. And they can project out how many inmates that they can continue to feed into the prison complex. Now, this may not seem like much to you, but let me share this with you. Let me give you some hardcore, facts. It's going to be a little reading, but if you want to learn, right? I'm going to do the reading for you. All you got to do is listen. Just like you take a little time and watch a television program or listen to your favorite song, right? You don't have to do nothing. All you have to do is sit back, kick back, and listen. I'm just saying, how about doing this for some information and some education to go along with those other things that you do? See how I said that? Because, see, I don't want to offend you. I want to inform you. So let me get into this, and I'm going to wrap it right back up where I started. Promise you, just give me a minute or two. All right? It says the prison industry in the United States, big business, or a new form of slavery. Now, if you know anything about the 13th Amendment, you know that slavery was abolished with the exception of those who are committed a crime. If you commit a crime, then the 13th Amendment does not apply to you. So you could be as free as a bird today. You commit a crime, tomorrow you get incarcerated, you become a slave. That's the 13th Amendment in essence. Go back and read it. I'm not going to go over there, but just so you know. That's why the question or the statement was asked, right here. It goes, again, the prison industry in the United States is a big business or a new form of slavery. All right? And it goes on to read. It says there are approximately 2 million inmates in the state. There are approximately 2 million inmates in state, federal, and private prisons throughout the country. According to the California Prison Focus, no other society in human history has imprisoned so many of its own citizens. It's talking about here in the United States. And just as a side note, remember Kamala Harris, the woman who's running for president of the United States? Remember when she was the attorney general in California, when they told her about releasing nonviolent criminals because of overcrowding in the prisons? Remember she said, I'm not letting anybody go. If I let them go, who's going to do the work? Okay, just remember that when you're going on election day, and all you Kamala Harris supporters, just remember, this is a lady who stands behind 100% of what I'm going to finish reading to you, okay? And what I've stated so far. All right. Not telling you how to vote, but you need to know who you're voting for. All right. It says the figures show that the United States has locked up more people than any other country. 500,000 more than China, which has a population 5 times greater than the United States. Statistics reveal that the United States, that 5 times greater than the United States statistics reveal. The United States holds 25% of the world's prison population, but only 5% of the world's people. From less than 300,000 inmates in 1972, the jail population grew to 2 million by the year 2000. You want to know something that happened between 1972 and 2000? Especially as it related to certain communities, crack and rap music. Now, some of you young people, that's why you won't blame it on rap. Well, if you were in the 80s and you heard NWA and the Ghetto Boys and No Limit Records and, some of these other groups, you'll know Cash Money. You know exactly what the hell I'm talking about. Because they were definitely talking about bang, bang, shoot 'em up, slinging, selling dope, murder. Who was it? Snoop. Murder Was the Case They Gave Me. That was one of the most popular songs coming off the West Coast. If you remember that, guys, I think that would have been probably late 80s, early 90s. Old popular, good guy Snoop Dogg. Probably got more people dead in prison behind that song. I digress. Let's get going. Can we pick it back up? I said the United States holds 25% of the world's population, but 5% of the world's people. From less than 300,000 inmates in 1972, the jail population grew to 2 million by the year 2000. In 1990, it was 1 million. 10 years ago, there were only 5 private prisons in the country, with a population of 2,000 inmates. Now there are 100, with 62,000 inmates. It is expected that by the coming decade, the next 10 years, the number will hit 360,000. Think about that, guys, from 62,000 to 360,000. So somebody about to go to jail. I hope it's not you. I hope you understand it, and I hope it's not your kids or any of your loved ones. And if you're listening to this message and you're understanding where I'm coming from, you'll do your part in at least trying to curb that, okay? Because they're waiting for them. They already got it planned out, as you heard me say earlier. What happened over the last 10 years? Why are there so many prisons? The prison industry complex is one of the fastest growing industries, manufacturing, in the United States, and its investors are on Wall Street. This multi-million-dollar industry has its own trade exhibitions, conventions, websites, and mail-order internet catalogs. It also has direct advertising campaigns, architectural companies, construction companies, investment houses on Wall Street, plumbing supplies companies, food supply companies, armed security, and padded cells in large variety of colors. Okay? It goes on. Crime goes down. Jail population goes up. According to a report by the Human Rights Organization, these are the factors that increase the profit potential for those who invest in the prison industrial complex. Okay? Jailing persons convicted of nonviolent crimes and long prison sentences for possession of microscopic quantities of illegal drugs. Federal law stipulates 5 years imprisonment without possibility of parole for possession of 5 grams of crack or 3.5 ounces of heroin, and 10 years for possession of less than 2 ounces of rock cocaine or crack. A sentence of 5 years for cocaine powder requires possession of 500 grams, 100 times more than the quantity of rock cocaine for the same sentence. Most of those who use cocaine powder are white, middle class, or rich people, while mostly blacks and Latinos use crack or rock cocaine. In Texas, a person may be sentenced up to 2 years in prison for possessing 4 ounces of marijuana. Here in New York, in 1973, Nelson Rockefeller anti-drug law provides a mandatory prison sentence for 15 years to life for possession of 4 ounces of an illegal drug. The passage in 13 states of the street strike laws, life in prison after being convicted 3 times on felonies, made it necessary to build 20 new federal prisons. One of the most disturbing cases resulting from a measure of that is prisoners who, for stealing a car and 2 bicycles, received 25-year sentences. Longer sentences, the passage of laws that require minimum sentences without regard to circumstance. A large expansion of work prisoners creating profits that motivate the incarceration of more people for longer periods of time, more punishment of prisoners so to lengthen their sentences. Now, it goes on to talk about, what happened back in 1861 to 1865 after the Civil War and hiring out prisoners and then the prison lease program and also ultimately transitioning into, private prisons or, etc., state penitentiaries, so forth and so on. But I want to skip over that because I won't be able to finish up if I don't. It says from 1870 to 1910, in the state of Georgia, 88% of hired out convicts were black. In Alabama, 93% of hired out minors were black. In Mississippi, a huge prison formed similar to the old slave plantation replaced the system of hiring out convicts. The notorious Parchman plantation existed until 1972. Now, again, I'm going to skip again because I want to go to who's investing because this is what you want to hear. At least 37 states have legalized contracting of prison labor by private corporations that mount their operations inside state prisons. The list of such companies contain the cream of U.S. corporate society. And here we go. IBM. These are people who are investing in private prisons to lock up your family members. Boeing. I'm talking about for minor crimes. In some cases, I've read something like 1 out of 6 prisoners are innocent. Okay, but I digress. Okay, Boeing, Motorola, Microsoft, AT&T, Wireless, Texas Instrument, Dell, Compaq, Honeywell, Hewlett-Packard, Nortel, Lucent Technology, Streetcoms, Intel, Northern Telecom, TWA, Nordstrom's, the department store, Revlon, Macy's, the department store, Pierre Cardin, Target stores, and many more. All of these businesses are excited about the economic boom generated by prison labor. And I could go on and on, reading more of it. I'll just a couple of things I want to say because I'm running out of time. The average prisoner, if he works in the kitchen, he's making 12 cents an hour. If he's working, making mattresses or license plates or brooms or clothes and things like that, he might be making anywhere from, 75 cents to 90 cents an hour. That's the minimum typically. And the maximum, he may be making $4.50 an hour. And all of those wages, believe it or not, have dropped in the last 10 years. So if you think profit for prison is not a big business and that's where your manufacturing jobs went, you got another thing coming, my friend. All right? So this is what I'll say at the end of this video. I'm going to see if I can get to this real quick. There's the scripture. This is Matthew chapter 13 and verse 37. It says, the one who sowed the good seed is the Son of Man. And the field is the world, and the good seed And the good seed stands for the son of the kingdom. And the bad seed, talking about the seeds and the tares, weeds and the tares, is simply stating that the bad is Satan.